What is going on, boys and girls? It's me, Ben DPB, and we're back with another Ben Meets. And this time, we've got a guest that I'm really looking forward to, mostly because I'm a bit of a mark when it comes to wrestling, and we've got a wrestler, a real-life wrestler on the show. He's also an FM content creator, but that's by the by. We're not really concerned about that. It's Omega Luke. How are you, dude?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. How are you?
No, thank you for coming on, bro. I really, really appreciate it. I mean, no, it's a pleasure, but thank you for coming. I'm really looking forward to this one. I mean, my first question is, you're a wrestler. Tell me about it.
Yes. Yeah, so I started, I used to do like wrestling content before because I've always been an in and out fan, I guess. Going in and out of it. I suppose most people do who like wrestling. And I used to work quite closely with my local company, Reach Wrestling in Plymouth. Got quite friendly with the two owners who are wrestlers themselves from interviews and stuff like that. Went along to a lot of the shows, and they've got their own academy. And the two owners, Grayson and Jason, they're called, which rhymes. It's annoying because it gets confusing. But Grayson sort of said to me, "Why don't you come along? We got a beginners class." To come along to see whether you enjoy it or not. Went to it, and I have not missed a week or 2 weeks in a row since, to be honest, because I love it. It's really good fun. The people there are awesome. Like the shows they put on are amazing, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I really do implore anyone who's a fan of wrestling just to give it a try one day, because you might find it, you might stick at it.
Even if you don't want to try wrestling, I highly recommend you go watch the local wrestling. I watch it over here in Wales. I used to go watch it. I lived in Luton, go watch the Dunstable shows, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, we're basically into wrestling podcast, but screw it, I don't care. I do enjoy wrestling, despite being a 35-year-old man, and it is still real to me, damn it. But anyway, it's not a wrestling podcast, it's an FM podcast. But I'm going to ask you questions sort of related to the two. I am begging you, please tell me that your gimmick in wrestling is as a football manager.
Well, it would be an easy one to do, wouldn't it? But no, unfortunately, it is not.
Oh.
I haven't really, so I haven't had an actual match yet. I'm supposed to make my debut very soon, and obviously this sort of thing's happened. I've had like training matches and everything like that, and we've nailed down a name. I've nailed down what I'm going to wear, and then this is all sort of the coronavirus has all put a halt to everything now. But I haven't come up with a football manager inspired gimmick yet. That could be an option though. However, I do think that the content that I create and having like a bit of a platform, they are really keen to sort of use that in a way instead of just completely ignoring it, because I sort of said to them, like, it's a bit silly not using it for like branding purposes, considering I've worked with you using the name Omega Luke as a wrestling podcast as well as a football manager content creator. I've used the same name, so it makes sense to keep that. Not necessarily a full-blown football manager gimmick, but it's going to be sort of like as if it's the same person. I'm not portraying someone else, if that makes sense.
Keeping the brand.
Yeah,
keeping the brand.
Exactly.
And you're right. When you've got over 2,000 YouTube subscribers, it makes sense to keep that name going, because you've already got a fan base, shall we say, to use already. So it makes 100% sense to go along with that. We're going to get into the FM questions now. So apologies to you guys if you're not a wrestling fan, but I am. It's my podcast, so screw you. All right. Now, when and why did you start YouTube?
So originally, like I sort of alluded to earlier, I used the same name for a wrestling podcast. So I had wrestling podcasts. I did originally it was just stuff with my friends. I did a couple of interviews with the local company. Then I got a couple of wrestlers on, got a few big names on as well. Then I thought, well, you can't really make any money from podcasting. I'm putting a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. I'll try a YouTube channel as well. So I did a wrestling YouTube, and I was doing like vlogs and wrestle crate unboxings, that sort of thing. And then I sort of like thought to myself, like, I've got all the equipment. I play Football Manager every day. Why am I not like posting what I'm playing? Like, I've played it for my whole life, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. It seems silly not to do it. So then around like June last year, I thought to myself, let's just do it. And I created the gaming channel as a second channel instead of the wrestling one. And here I am now.
So was there anyone in particular, content creator-wise, apart from myself, of course, that inspired you to go and do FM content?
I mean, it was just always you, Ben. It was always you, mate.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Benji and Loki, they've all told me that as well.
Who are they? No.
Exactly.
To be honest, when I first, around about 5-6 years ago, is when I first started watching the YouTube FM scene and Work the Space, of course, like the biggest YouTuber we have in the community, is Gibraltar Apex Save. I got massively into. I watched every episode religiously as soon as it was out, and then after that I sort of faded away from it again. Loki Doki, I then found his Journeyman save. I watched a lot of that. His very first one where he sort of blew up, because I remember watching Loki before he had like 2,000 subscribers, I think. I remember when he was that small, and it was like one of his first videos that blew up. So I caught him quite early on, watched both of his Journeymans in 2 years in a row, and then faded away again. And then when I started creating the content for it, that is when I started watching it more, and because I like to do, like, it sounds silly, but I like to do like market research. So I'll watch as many different people as I can. I'll watch their first episode, and then just to see if there's things that I enjoy that I can pick up on, just to see, like, you know, what's around, and make sure I'm not doing the same thing, but also is there something that I can take from someone else that I can adapt to my style of creating content that I really enjoy watching myself, that I think other people might enjoy. And that's when I found, well, not found because I knew of him already, but Dr. Benji. I like fell in love with his content, and especially this year, I've just non-stop watching it. So like early years, Work the Space, and then Loki Doki, then Dr. Benji, and it's sort of gone like that.
In a recent episode of your Scandinavian save, your Conquer Scandinavia, you had a bit of a pop at Benji, didn't you? Do you want to tell the guys about him, his headphones? What did you say?
Yeah, well, because I am recently...
I'm throwing under the bus here, aren't I?
Yeah. To be honest, if he does watch it, then happy days. But anyway, I basically, because I had a baby last weekend, so I like to do like almost what he does, to be fair, like an intro before the actual intro music comes on. I've always done it really, and then he's done it as well. Now it's sort of really copying, to be honest, but I try not to make it too similar.
Are you implying there that he copied you? You said he'd done it as well, like he's copying you. So you telling us that exclusively, Dr. Benji is copying amazingly.
He's been doing it longer, but he is definitely copying me. Yeah, it's all him.
Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
I tried to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I had a baby last weekend, and I thought, what can I do for an intro? And then I had just AirPods just in front of me that I had just recently connected to my MacBook, and I was like, I'll put them in. So I put them in my ear, and I was like, I want to make sure I stick to my young roots. I don't want to be an old man now and not tech savvy. So I thought I'd just wear these, and they're not plugged into anything. And I said, I'm almost like an up-to-date Dr. Benji, because he wears the headphones in every episode. And then it occurred to me as I was like saying it, because I don't ever script what I'm going to say. I just say it, and then I sort of ramble, and then I either cut it out because it makes no sense, or I just leave it in because, well, again, it makes no sense, but it might make someone laugh. And I just sort of said, like, does he actually have anything plugged into it? Like, is he listening to music, or does he like say what he's going to say first and then listen to it back so he knows what he's going to say? Like, I'm genuinely curious as well at the same time what he actually listens to. That wasn't me like having a dig or taking the mick out of him. I am genuinely serious what he actually has the headphones there for.
Benji, if you're listening, you've got to let Luke know. He's dying to
just
find
want to
out.
know.
It's on one of his latest episodes of the Conquering Scandinavia save. It's on episode 56 of the Conquering Scandinavia save. Go on there, and there's a little dig at you, calling you out about your headphones. So go on there, let Luke know, and let the rest of us know what exactly are you, if anything, listening to on your headphones.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And if you could start at episode number 1, Benji, that would be even brilliant. That would be more brilliant. Yeah. And work your way to episode 56. Maybe edit out what episode you just told him there, and let him discover which one it is for himself. Let him listen to every single one.
You have to guess. It's somewhere near the start, Benji. If you start from the very beginning, you find it in there somewhere.
And we're not going to tell you what series it is either.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it. Just go through the whole series.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your Conquering Scandinavia, you, my friend, are doing what I consider to be an absolutely insane thing right now. You've got not one, not two, but 3 saves on the go. You've got your Youth to Gold save, your Conquering Scandinavia, which, by the way, I told you off camera, I'm genuinely loving that save right now.
Thank you.
and also the new one, the 3-year challenge on the 2006-2007 database just released by the Mad Scientist, who's an absolute boss, by the way. If you don't know the Mad Scientist, go in there, check him out, get his Patreon, give him a £1 donation, you get his database. This guy, every year, there's a database. We've had the 0304, we've had the 1966-67 database, the 2006-2007 database. The guy's an absolute beast. But anyway, you got 3 saves on the go. First of all, how the hell are you managing that? Second of all, tell us about them.
Well, I actually got 4 if you take the FM Scout one that I'm doing with Eintracht Frankfurt as well. But
Good shout.
That's actually more. I sort of like skip that one. I don't necessarily play the games because it's more about
that's your
the signings.
Is that director of football save?
Yeah, so it's more of an experiment so that I'm allowed to put it on the FM Scout YouTube channel. But I've always wanted to do a series on there, and I'm classifying it as an experiment so the boss man doesn't. Not allow me to do it, but yeah, that's 4 then really. But just the 3 on my channel. One, it is quite difficult to do. I'm not going to lie, it's hard to keep up with. It was hard to keep up with just the 2. The Youth to Gold series is probably my favourite, but that's more of just a stream save that I'm doing. I occasionally just do pre-seasons, transfers, and everything off camera. Most of it is played on camera, and that one basically. I don't know if you've ever used the website Football Manager Story.
I haven't, no. I haven't.
So I think it must have been about 2009, 2010, I was massively into like reading Football Manager blogs, and I'm terrible with names, so I will never remember who it was. But somebody come up with this concept of like the Youth to Gold system, and it was basically you buy youngsters and then you sell them when they get to 28, 29 their peak price, and just like do it that way. And I thought to myself, that's basically how I sort of play the game anyway.
And me.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people do really. So I thought I'd do a save where I make it a lot more strict with the rules. So my Youth to Gold save is I'm only allowed to sign teenagers. I can confirm the deal before they turn 20, but like if it's during this pre-season or during the season and they don't arrive till the end of the season but they turn 20, then that's all right. But they have to be 19 maximum before I confirm the deal, and I'm not allowed to use players who are 30 or above. So it forces you to only buy teenagers and to buy the youth players, and then it forces you almost to sell the players when they get to about 29, so that you don't lose out on any money. And my aim with that is I picked the team Strasbourg, which I'm really happy with, to be fair, that I have done since then in the French league, and try and make them the Ligue 1 champions, Champions League champions, and make them the richest club in the world through that system. So that's one of the saves. The other one, the Conquering Scandinavia one that you enjoy, I basically thought to myself, I want to do something different. I want to challenge myself because I never really do like weird saves. I tend to stick to the top 5 leagues, and I fancy doing sort of like a journeyman, but without making it sound like I'm just doing a journeyman. I wanted to make it different because I hate feeling like I'm copying people, and so even though I just admitted that I'm copying Dr. Benji's intros, if we ignore that, I don't like copying people. So
we'll delete that out. We'll cut that out if you don't.
Never said it. And you know, I love Loki Doki's Journeyman, and the fact that like I always check the comments, and like people are always saying, "Oh, this team that you're at now is my team," and I thought, you know what, like I need to do like a save where I jump from club to club, because not only I think I'll enjoy it and it would challenge me, but I think it will bring in new users to my channel. And I did that, and I started the stipulation of Conquering Scandinavia. I am awful, by the way, at pronouncing names, so the fact that I picked Scandinavia, which has like a completely different alphabet in some languages, and how you pronounce some of these words and the length of the names, was the most stupidest idea I've had, really, but also the best idea because it makes for some entertaining content. The fact that I'm trying to pronounce it and I have to do edits and cuts of me attempting to say it like 4 or 5 times. And I literally think to myself now, I'm not even going to cut this out. I'm literally just going to cut it shorter and just see how many attempts it takes me to pronounce this name. But it's a good save, just going from and trying to win the league, the top league in every single one of the Football Manager Scandinavian countries, because I've been told plenty of times since I've decided this stipulation that a couple of those countries are Nordic countries, not Scandinavian, but of Football Manager terms, we know it's classed as Scandinavia. So it's Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, which I began the save with. And the third one, like we say, is the Mad Scientist, the 0607 database that he's created. Phenomenal stuff. Like, he puts so much work into it. They are amazing databases that he creates. And I wanted to do it, and I originally I was going to wait for Conquering Scandinavia to finish, and then I've just taken too long. So I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. Get on it while it's hyped and like it's a big thing on release night. And I've done Manchester United, just doing a 3-year challenge. I need to win the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League within 3 years. So it's quite a nice little challenge. I think it's going to be difficult for sure, but it'll be nice if I do it.
I looked at a database myself. I'm also a patron of the Mad Scientist. I thought that was when Carlos Tevez was at Manchester United. When did he join or leave United then, Tevez?
So he went to, because I think one of the first things that I seen when the Mad Scientist posted about that database was that it was the year that Mascherano and Tevez signed and moved to the UK at the same time. I think.
Oh, West Ham.
Yeah, it was that transfer deadline day. I think it might have been. They both signed at the same time, and then I've got a feeling they get relegated that year. And Tevez, no, or is it Tevez saves him? I've got an awful memory.
Tevez saved him, didn't he?
He did,
Tevez
with a free kick or something,
United.
wasn't it?
Sheffield United went down with Neil Warnock.
That was it, yeah. And then it was a bit of controversy
Warnock
about it.
To this day is still bitter as hell about it. He is proper bitter about it.
Because of like how it was done or something like that. And I think then that's when Manchester United signed him, because in 2008 they won the Champions League and Tevez was definitely there.
Ronaldo, Tevez, and Rooney, the front three together were just lethal.
Yeah, or so I call it the good old days.
I mean, I'm looking forward to. I mean, we've had one episode of the 3-year challenge. I'm looking forward to that because I love the old-fashioned databases. I love seeing the old players. I looked on there myself last night, and I got all a bit excited to see Adriano on there.
The nostalgia, yeah.
Adriano, from my days of playing Pro Evo, anyone who is old like me knows that back in the day, Adriano was an absolute monster.
Yeah, and well, spoiler alert for episode 1, Adriano in a Man United shirt is a beautiful thing.
Back in the day, Adriano on Pro Evo, I don't know if you played Pro Evo back in the day, he had 99 shot power, absolutely smashed it. When I looked at him last night and saw he was at Inter Milan still, finishing 20 was insane.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if you watch Luke's series, you'll find out that he could or could not make a move for Adriano. But Luke spoiled it now, so well done, Luke. You've ruined it for everyone now. Let's cancel the podcast. Let's all go to bed. We've had enough.
You're all welcome.
But honestly, if you're not into spoilers, this is the podcast for you. But honestly, Luke said, again, I know he loves his youth to gold save, but the Conquering Scandinavia save for me is a lot of fun. It's something different. A lot of people go through the journeyman save and they end up at Manchester United or end up at Real Madrid. Much like what Loki's got going right now with his journeyman save. Luke's got some very similar ways. Stayed away from the Premier League. He stayed away from Spain, from Italy, from Germany. He's staying in Scandinavia or the Nordic leagues, and he's trying to top it. I think that's why I enjoy it so much. It's very different.
It is very different, and I've noticed. I said at the start there, the reason why I want to do it to bring like more viewers, and it's definitely worked. Like it must be close to about 10 Patreon members who are from Scandinavia and love all of my saves now, but originally got into it through Conquering Scandinavia, and they're begging me to join their club when I finally get to their country and stuff like that, and I love that because I don't know, it adds something different to it when you go to someone's club or like you're managing someone's club and they can tell you a bit about it and tell you a bit of history and who the rivals are, or even if you go to someone's rivals and they don't like it. I've had that a few times as well, and it's quite enjoyable and good fun to have.
What I will say particularly about your Conquering Scandinavia save, and it's something that I thoroughly enjoy, is I like the fact that you said from the start, look, I'm not going to start in the 4th tier of Scandinavian football. I'm going to start in tier 2. And that's one thing that's always deterred me from a journeyman save, because I haven't got the patience to start in the 10th tier of English football or start in non-league. I quite like the idea of what you've done, just starting in the 2nd division or the 2nd tier of Scandinavian football or Nordic football, whatever you want to call it. And I like that idea a lot. But again, it's something different to what we've seen. We've seen Lelujo start off in the league. We've seen Loki Doki do it. And you started off a little bit higher up there, but I quite like that. I really do. So I'm most certainly going to steal that idea at some point in the very near future.
Yeah, I think like I'm not one for even enjoying watching like the lower tier management saves. I think the lowest I've ever done is the conference, well, Vanarama National, what it is now, but I can't say I ever continued that save. I think I only did it because it was Salford and I enjoyed the idea of it. But I can't deal with like saves like that. It's just not for me, and I can't even enjoy watching them. Like, I love Work the Space, and I occasionally love tuning in to seeing what Kev's doing, Lelujo, but when it is the lower league ones, I find myself drifting off and not concentrating on it, because I prefer the higher leagues or the different leagues. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bobby G Gaming.
I have, yeah. He's come on the show very soon.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to that one then, because I really enjoy his Pentagon Challenge, because he started off in like crazy countries and stuff like that. And I really enjoy stuff like that. Whereas the lower leagues of England, you know, so many people do it, but it is enjoyable for a lot of people. It's just not my cup of tea. And I was literally thinking when I was setting up the database for the Scandinavian save, like, you know, I think it's Denmark and Sweden go down to like the 3rd and 4th divisions, and I'm like, I'm not about that. Like, I'm happy with the 2nd divisions, but my plan was to randomize what team I started off with, so it wasn't me picking a side. And I didn't want to random a team and then be in the 4th division of Norway or 4th division of Denmark and be like, oh, great, I've got a right mountain to climb here. But I think I lucked out definitely with my first team.
Speaking of Bobby G Gaming, not to suck him off here, I enjoyed his Twat FC save. I'm just saying, that was funny. It was really funny. I've missed the last few episodes, truth be told, because there's so much content out there right now.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's hard to keep up with it. Twat FC, if you haven't heard of it, Bobby G Gaming, Twat FC, it says what it is in the tin, but it's just so funny. It really
He's
is.
a very entertaining guy.
He is lower league management in Scotland. It's just hilarious to watch. It really is. Bobby G Gamer. I can't wait to get him on. There's nothing wrong with you, mate.
Oh, yeah. I think he's actually also a wrestler, isn't he? Or a former wrestler?
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure he's a former wrestler.
I just find him really funny, Bobby.
Yeah,
I really do find him very, very funny. But it's not about Bobby. It's about Omega Luke.
Yeah.
And what I want also, but the fact that, you know, you do stream.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of other people who go for the cliche, I'm going to stream on Twitch, or if you're being really, you know, niche about it, I'm going to stream on Mixer.
Yeah.
What you do is you don't do what a lot. You stream on YouTube. Now we see FM Scout stream on YouTube. We've seen back in the day Lelujo stream on YouTube. I mean, why do you stay to YouTube? Is that because that's where the majority of your fan base due to YouTube channel comes from, or?
That is one of the main reasons, but I'll give you another reason. It's a little secret, so don't tell anyone, but it's because I am awful at learning new things and I don't understand Twitch. It genuinely is. Like, when people, I try so hard to watch Twitch so I can pick it up, because I have attempted to stream on Twitch. I am on it, and if you have a look at my profile, I have one video.
You did one video
yeah.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, and that was basically, I streamed on both. Using like a dual streaming like program, and just to see whether I could do it, and it was successful that one time, and then the next time I tried doing it, it sort of ballsed up, and I was like, right, that's it, back to what you know, stick to YouTube. But the night we're recording this, I am actually going to attempt to try it again tomorrow on Twitch, because although I am terrible at learning new things, if I have an idea in my head, I will make it happen, and I'm not happy. As soon as I achieve something, I'm not happy. I'll have to do something more and have a next goal. So as soon as I felt like I was doing well on YouTube, I was like, right, I'm not doing anything on Twitch. I could be doing something on Twitch. Let's try Twitch as well. So yeah, I originally stuck to YouTube because that's where my fan base was, and it was easier, I suppose, for me to do. Like you say, FM Scout do. I'm part of FM Scout as one of the content creators, so I had ease of access of knowing about how to do things and stuff like that, and people there that could help me. So it made it for a lot easier for me to just direct myself into the YouTube way instead of trying Twitch from the beginning. But I am opening some doors, and I'm trying. I do have a Mixer account as well, which I think one step at a time, Luke. One step at a time. Like, I'll attempt Twitch to begin with. Once I've mastered Twitch, you watch out, Mixer. I'm coming for you next. And then it'll be like Facebook gaming. I heard that's quite a thing now.
Ninja Who?
Yeah. Who? Never heard of him, mate. Never heard of him. But yeah, maybe we'll try that as well.
So there's not many guys nowadays. A lot of people have tried to do YouTube or stream and do like general YouTube videos, and they failed because they couldn't keep the balance going. How do you manage to pump out pretty much daily content and do a streaming save at the same time and have a baby and wrestle? How do you manage to do all of that at the same time?
Having a really understanding wife is one thing, for sure. It's difficult. It really is difficult. Like, yesterday I must have spent about 8 hours creating 3 different videos, editing the videos.
Wow.
and putting them out, because obviously I do 2 or 3 videos a week on FM Scout, well, tend to do. So it's also, I've got to think about that channel as well, because that's the reason why my channel's so big. So I always want to try and do something more on there. The streams are the easy thing, because I know I can dedicate 3 hours there. I don't have to prepare anything. I don't have to load up to a save, or like play a save offline to get to that point. I don't have to edit anything after. It's just there. I know now that certain people, the ultras they call themselves, which I find quite funny, they'll be there and we can enjoy the stream together, and I enjoy that. Not that I don't enjoy the videos, but it makes it much easier doing the streaming, whereas the videos sticking to like a deadline of, right, I need a video to come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sticking to that can be difficult at times, and I have been quite lax. And now that the baby's here, I sort of took a bit of a week off, and then Tuesday it was like, right, back on it while he's asleep. Let's get a couple of videos done and just try and it's really, I'm playing it by ear. I don't know whether I'll be able to continue doing this to the capacity that I am doing it at the minute, but so far so good. I haven't burnt myself out or anything like that yet, which I think I'll struggle to do, because I genuinely really enjoy making content, and I really enjoy like the interaction side of things. I find that like the most fun part about creating content is the interaction. So like people in Discord saying how they enjoyed the episode and stuff like that. So things like that is very rewarding and keeps me wanting to do more. So I think that's one of the main parts of it.
Not to call you out, okay? I warned you before the episode started. There's going to be times where I call you out, okay? If you have your little army, your ultras on your YouTube channel, why would you then move over to Twitch? Are you not quite happy staying where you are with your ultras, or do you want to try and expand and grow and try both avenues to see how that ends up?
So I think everyone who does this, not to say that it's the only reason why they do it, but everyone who does this would love to be the next Work the Space, or love to be the next Dr. Benji.
Of course.
So
anyone who's otherwise a liar.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've heard you say that before on the podcast, so I knew you'd agree with me. But you know, and I think, yes, I am absolutely thrilled and overwhelmed with my sort of like community that I have, who come to pretty much every stream that I do, or watch and comment on every video and speak to every day in my Discord. I am absolutely thrilled with that. But even they are like, we need to build this more. We need to bring more people in. I've tried telling my mate to join and stuff like that. When I'm like, that's amazing. That's amazing for me to hear that other people, that these guys who really enjoy my stuff want me to succeed and get bigger as well. And I think that drives me more to be like, yeah, I really want to do this. And like, I see the numbers that people like Loki Doki or Dr. Benji are getting on their videos, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that. But I know that's not going to come just by sitting here and ambling on and not putting in half-ass in it sort of thing. I know I need to try things. I need to do something different. I need to experiment with Twitch and see if that works. Maybe like in 2 years' time, I won't even do YouTube because I'll be so big on Twitch. Who knows? And that's like the thought process that I think of. I might be able to find someone on Twitch who comes across to YouTube and then subscribe to the YouTube channel, but never would have found me unless I did Twitch. And that's actually happened from the one video that I did on Twitch. That actually happened. So it sort of proved my point. So I think that's quite an important thing, really. And that's sort of a bit of advice I'd say to anyone who's creating content. Don't rule anything out. Always try new things. If it fails, so be it. but never rule anything out and think, oh no, I only do YouTube. There's no point me doing Twitch. Give Twitch a try. Like it is difficult. I find it really difficult. Some people might adapt to it like a fish to water, but I find it difficult. But I'm willing to give it a try. And if I give it a good go and I fail, then I'll give it a good go and I won't regret it. Whereas if I never give it a go, I'll always have that thing of, I wonder if I ever tried Twitch, what it would be like.
Of course. I mean, one thing I will say is, I mean, if you want to become a full-time content creator, I don't mean you, I mean anyone, FM is probably the worst place you could do that. There's a reason why there's only probably 3 guys in Benji, Loki, and Alujo, because even Work the Space doesn't do this full-time.
No.
There's only 3 guys that I know of that do this as a full-time job.
Yeah.
Do you not agree that FM is probably the wrong game to do? So if that's the case, do you have any plans to move into any other games, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitch or YouTube streaming or Facebook gaming or Mixer or Pornhub, whatever it may be, to help your channel grow?
I mean, I'm already massive on Pornhub. That's
what I hear.
Yeah.
I hear you're very small.
Yeah. Controversy. But sort of 2 parts to that, actually, is one, I sort of feel like FM, yes, is not the correct game to be full-time right now. However, there is a massive community on FIFA who hate that game so much. And day by day, and day by day, there is more people trying to get into Football Manager through FIFA Ultimate Team and PES. Yeah, well. I mean, what Football Manager have done in the last couple of weeks, making the game free, was huge for the game. It doubled the record of the most people playing at one time on Steam. I did a video on FM Scout for like the beginner's guide, and it was literally so basic. It was basically turning the game on, loading the game up, and getting to your first match. And I genuinely thought to myself when I was posting it out, like, this is going to flop. Like, this is going to be nothing. And it already has like 30,000 views in 1 week. And I think so that just shows that there is so many new people coming to the game. Because it's not, if that was me, and the average view time's quite high as well. So if that was me, and I thought, what's this video? And I clicked on it, and it was basically me in the corner of the screen going, now press career to start your game. And then I'd be like, well, I know how to play the game. Like, I don't need this video. But to have like 25 to 30,000 views within a week and have a high average view time, that tells me that there is so many new people playing this game and so many new people who are checking out YouTube content to find out how to play this game properly and trying to get themselves in the community. And from that tells me that this game is growing, that we already know it's growing, to be fair, from the numbers that Miles and Football Manager tweet out. But that tells me the community of watching content creators is growing as well. So this might not be the right game now, but by the time that I might get a little bit bigger, it could be the best game to be on. Because if you'd imagine, probably in like 2009, 2010, FIFA probably wasn't the right game to be a content creator for, and then you had certain people who do a few videos that blow up, and then Ultimate Team comes out, and then next thing,
KSI.
Yeah, it's like the best thing ever, and people are making thousands and thousands of pounds for it. So not to say that I'm like Mystic Meg and that's definitely what's going to happen, but there's a possibility that that could happen. But a second point to that question is, when I started my YouTube channel, I think it's even still on there now, my description of my YouTube channel was to play simulator games. So like even my logo says the King of Sim, because I wanted it to be Football Manager, Motorsport Manager, which is a game I love as well, and Total Extreme Wrestling is just another simulator game. I had the full intentions of playing simulator games on my YouTube channel. It just so happened that Football Manager was the first one because it was the one that I owned and I wanted to play at the time. And then within a month, FM Scout had messaged me and be like, can you create content for us? And then since then, that's all I've done. I'm now worried that it will just put people off or be a massive flop and a waste of time. But there is an opportunity and a small chance, shall I say, that I will play more games and then I will record it, but not quite yet.
We've seen a lot. I mean, I'm not going to, that was a nigh on perfect answer. It really was. Yeah. So I was not expecting that, mate. So well done. But there's a lot of other people out there that have tried other games on their FM channel. Look at Lelujo. Lelujo tried I mean, one of his favourite saves he's ever done. It was only 2 episodes long. He did a Fallout 4 save.
Yeah.
And he was so bad at the game, it was hilarious. But a lot of people have tried to step away from FM. But unfortunately, I think the FM fan base is so loyal to that game, they won't let you bloody leave it. And there's only a couple of guys out there that I see that can do it and do well. Loki Doki is one of them. We see him do the Super Seducer, for example, and do extremely well on that. If you can find a game, and Total Extreme Wrestling is up there, I think. If you can find a game and get yourself a little niche audience, you could do really, really well.
Oh, definitely.
Wolfie has done that with FIFA Career Mode back in the day, do you know what I mean? So if you can get yourself a game, whether it be Sims or whether it be Civilization, whatever else it may be, if you can get yourself a little core fan base going there and try and branch out, more power to you. So something that I want to do, I love playing Far Cry, I love playing Fallout, I love playing Call of Duty Warzone now and Apex. And it's something that I want to do, but I'm not afraid to admit it. There's fear in me to try and do that and lose what little fan base I have, because you've seen before when people try to branch out and they start losing subscribers, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, I actually found Lelujo from his Total Extreme Wrestling 2016 thing that he did.
Really?
Yeah, because before then...
That's pretty cool.
I know, before then I only knew Loki Doki and Work the Space, and they never mentioned Lelujo or anything like that. And I was made aware of this Total Extreme Wrestling game, and I thought, I really want to give that a crack, but I want to see how to play it first. Typed it in, and because he's a massive channel, it was one of the first channels that came up. And I watched his full save on the Total Extreme Wrestling. I was like, this is amazing, I need to play this game. So I subscribed to his channel, and the next thing I see that he's posting FM videos. I'm like, oh wow, he's an FM YouTuber as well. Locked out of that one. Didn't realise that originally he was an FM YouTuber to begin with, and he was only given Total Extreme Wrestling a chance.
I literally bought Total Extreme Wrestling because of his save on YouTube with it. I'm not gonna lie, I never played it because I tried to do the mods for it, and I was like, I have no idea.
Oh, it's so difficult.
Now. And it was. There should be a YouTube video, so idea for you, because there are YouTube videos, but they're not very good at explaining what to do.
Yeah.
If you ever have time, I highly would advise doing a YouTube video tutorial on how to install the mods. But I couldn't play the game just because I didn't want to do the fake wrestlers. I wanted to have the real wrestlers on there that I could do the stories with, for example.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother playing. It's still there, hasn't been touched in about 2 years, but I too found, I didn't find Lelujo. I bought the game because Lelujo had the game and he played the game. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's actually, it's a really in-depth game, and it's sort of like my style of game, because I'd never play the 2K14 or like 2K games that they have for WWE. Like, I hate them, cannot play them. I don't enjoy like actually using the wrestlers. I enjoy like managing the wrestlers. So again, similar to Football Manager, becoming more of a manager and like being the booker. So the fact that, I mean, I don't know if you ever played it, but SmackDown versus Raw had like a GM mode back in 2007. Yeah, they had like a Raw versus SmackDown thing. So you like either choose Raw or SmackDown and then pick your roster and then go up against each other, but you never actually like play the matches. You just decide who wins and loses and stuff like that. So when it was like, when I found out it was that type of game, I was like, I need to play this game. But yeah, the modding side of thing was very difficult. But when I eventually done it, it was a lot of fun to play.
You're now an established content creator, whether you want to admit it or not. And a lot of guys don't want to admit it. You're an established content creator, well over 2,000 subscribers. You must have, during that time, I've received advice from other content creators or even from your fans. What's the best bit of advice you've ever been given about your content?
So I think basically it was when I joined FM Scout, the guy sort of said like, don't read the comments. And I was like, why? Like, I need to read the comments. I want to see what people are thinking. And he was like, if you're going to read the comments, don't take it to heart, because you'll never get anywhere if you start biting back at comments, because that's what people want you to do when they're saying stuff. And I really feel like I've done so well. I've never, to be fair, I've never had that bad responses in my videos. I've had a couple people take the mick out of something I've said or something like that, or I can't remember really what one bad one. I remember I had one bad one, but instead I just delete the comment, because why like lose stress over it? And I feel like that's one way of that can really get on your back if you focus on what other people think of your stuff, if it's a bad thing, because whatever you do, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. you are gonna like have some sort of following, or someone might really enjoy what you're doing, but I can guarantee you will have someone who won't enjoy what you do, or not say not enjoy it, but it's not for them. And some people in this planet like to see the world burn, and they will tell you that they don't like what they are seeing or what they are hearing, or something that you do that gets on their nerves, because everyone gets on someone's nerves. And you just got to brush it off and be like, okay, that's fine by me. But then on the other side of things, you will get people who are nice in this world and will tell you, I really enjoy your stuff. I really like what you're doing with this. I find you really funny, or find you entertaining. That's the rewarding side of it. That's when you need to listen to the comments. So I feel like that bit of advice was good, but what I feel like I've done is, well, I will just take notice of the comments I want to take notice of, and I will ignore the ones that I don't. And I think that's the best way to do it, because I probably wouldn't continue doing it if it wasn't for the fact that people who are enjoying my stuff tell me that I'm enjoying my stuff. Because if no one's listening or watching, it becomes more of a burden to do all the editing side of things, and I'd rather just play the game. But whereas when I feel like people are enjoying my stuff, it gives me the edge, like, oh no, I need to meet this deadline, because there's a few people who I know I'm part of their like daily schedule now. I'm part of their daily routine at 6 o'clock on a Monday. They are waiting for an episode of Conquering Scandinavia. I need to get this out. So I think it's two sides of the coin there.
No, agreed very much. So now we come to my favourite part of the show. It's the part where we either end up falling in love with you, or we never speak to you again. Right?
Okay, so this will be my last appearance on this podcast then.
It very well could be, Luke. So no pressure, my friend. No pressure whatsoever. Now, it's the Spitfire questions. As we always say, if you do want to give more elaborate answers to these and not just stick to your 2 words, you're more than welcome to do so. All right?
Yep.
Right. So Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Favourite takeaway?
Oh, that's a difficult one. It depends what mood I'm in, really. But I'm going to have to go with an Indian. I do like a nice Indian, like a tikka masala with a chicken chat for starters. Bit of, I'm not a big fan of the naan bread, but the poppadoms for sure. With a dip. I like that.
I'm the opposite. I love a naan bread.
Really?
I love soaking up that sauce with a naan bread. Oh, but I do like a poppadom as well, with a bit of mango chutney.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mango chutney is unbelievable.
What's your favourite film?
Favourite film? So, I'm going to give you sort of a cheat answer, 2 answers here, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like my life. I love all of those films. But outside, if I was to take away superhero films, because I'm a bit of a nerd, I love like comic books and stuff like that. If I was to take away all of that, it would be Back to the Future. I love like the time travel side of things. Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2 has got to be up there.
So you mentioned that you love Back to the Future. What's your thoughts on Rick and Morty then?
Oh, I love Rick and Morty. Honestly, it's such a funny cartoon. I remember when it first came out, and my friend told me about it, and I was just like, nah, I don't really like the graphics of it, because like South Park, I could never watch South Park because of the way it looks. Whereas like Family Guy, I'm like, that looks clean, it looks sharp, I'm happy to watch it. And then I gave Rick and Morty a go, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I've put the show off for so long, and now I'm addicted to it.
I was exactly the same. I never watched Rick and Morty when it first came out, because I looked at the cartoon and thought that looks a little bit weird.
Yeah.
His eyes are up, they're all shaking stuff. What is that thing in the corner of his mouth? I didn't watch it for a while, and then I started watching it. Like you, I now love the show. It's absolutely amazing. I love Rick and Morty.
It's brilliant. I love the concept of it. It's weird that you said Rick and Morty after I said Back to the Future, because my current background on my phone is Rick and Morty in a spaceship battling the DeLorean with the professor and from the Back to the Future. That is genuinely my wallpaper on my phone.
My wallpaper on my phone, just to put it out there, is Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings sitting on the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones.
Really? That is quite cool. I've watched a couple episodes of Vikings. I've never like committed to it fully.
Vikings is probably my favourite show. I love the Vikings. I really do. I love Vikings. So what's your favourite TV show? Rick and Morty side.
My favourite TV show, and that's quite a difficult one. I think all time has got to be Friends, and I think it's closely beating out US Office. Shout. Yeah, I think I remember like as a kid when I first started watching it and just being addicted to it, and I think I must have watched it through about 15 to 20 times every episode, and then caught like different episodes on the TV at the same time. But US Office, I got into that a few years ago, and that's also like the same. Like you can just put it on at any time, doesn't matter what episode it is, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll like just laugh all the way through. I think those two are the main ones. But a big shout out to a former series of Spartacus. I used to love that show. Me and my dad used to watch it.
Spartacus is awesome as well.
Brilliant TV show.
I didn't enjoy the new series, which was basically a prequel. Never enjoyed the prequel they did, to be honest with you.
I think it was a shame, wasn't it? Because the main actor, he was called Andy. I can't remember what his last name was. He died.
Andy
he had cancer.
He died. Did you watch the documentary on Netflix?
I haven't. I didn't know there was one.
There's a documentary on Netflix that basically goes through his whole chemo treatment and from when he found out he has cancer right to the very end. And it is heartbreaking to watch because I too was a massive Spartacus fan. I actually started rewatching it 2 weeks ago. I'm about halfway through the first season.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to watch. It really is.
I'm gonna have to watch that because I really like him as an actor. And then obviously they were sort of forced when just as they started filming, he had the cancer, so they filmed a prequel instead. And then he obviously died, so they could never finish it. But yeah, it's a massive shame. But I really love that first series. It's amazing.
So FIFA or Pro Evo?
Neither at the minute, but it was always FIFA for me. I never owned a Pro Evo in my life. Pretty much bought every FIFA up until 2019, and then I just had enough with how bad the game is and how much EA just want your money. And I stuck to my one true love of FM instead.
That's basically what EA like. All they care about now is getting your money off.
Oh yeah, I mean the fact that they've had like pro clubs and stuff like that, and they've just never updated it. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. No way. See, I never liked it because of the licensing. I never, like North London Red or stuff like that. I hated it, and I remember like Van Nistelrooy was called like Nistel Rouge and stuff like that, and I hated that. I just call him Van Nistelrooy. Why is it? And obviously back then I didn't know there was all these like licensing agreements and stuff, but I hated it. I was like, just call them by their actual name. What is wrong with this game? So I never did it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm that bad. I can't even play Football Manager with the normal badges, the default badges. I have to have some sort of badge pack. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, like I play on like the OPZ Elite skin because I think that's aesthetically the most pleasing to me, and I won't ever go back to the normal skin. Like for the video that I alluded to earlier that I did on FM Scout, I changed it back to the original skin so that it became familiar for new users when they clicked on the game, so it was everywhere, everything was in the same place, and I hated it. I changed it immediately. I didn't even bother playing any games with it as the original skin. I had to go back to that skin because I just prefer it.
Xbox or PlayStation?
See, I'm a PlayStation guy. Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy. I always have been. I had an Xbox 360 only because in my sixth form everyone played Call of Duty on Xbox, so I reluctantly bought one. But in my head, I was always apologising to my PS3 there on the side, saying I'll come back one day. And I always have.
Watch it gather dust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just feeling sorry for it, just rubbing it, stroking it, apologising. Yeah.
So, attribute masking, on or off?
Off. I have to have it off. I have to see the attributes.
Good lad.
I can't be. I mean, fair play to people who play it with it on. Like, all the power to you that you are into scouting players that much. Like, I watch like Second Yellow Card when he plays it with attribute masking off. On, sorry, and I'm like, wow, he's. To me, it proves that he's so good at the game because he has to have full scout reports and stuff, or takes gambles on players. I'm not about that. I'm too lazy for that, to wait for it. I'm like, is he good or not? Just tell me, for Christ's sake.
That's literally how I play the game as well. So this question is going to make or break our potential romance together. 2D or 3D?
I am a nostalgia man. I'm 2D all the way.
I love it forever.
I have 2D, and then for people, just in case, and for the fact that you're not watching the same thing twice, I have 3D on replays.
And me. That's exactly what I do.
Just
That's exactly what I do.
Because sometimes it's funny. Some funny things happen. It makes for good content. Like the goalkeeper stuff, you can't see it in 2D. Whereas like when it's in 3D, the funniest animations happen sometimes, and it makes for good content, if anything. But it's also so you're not watching the same thing twice. But I think 2D is I use it massively because you can see your tactic properly, because it is a bird's eye view. So you can see your fullback bombing on, or you can see people being out of position, or they're who you need to mark more. Whereas in 3D, some camera angles you can't see that, and I think people don't really think about that. So I always, in my tactics side of things, if I'm creating a new tactic, I'll watch it full match on 2D. And then I won't be focusing on my players. I'll be focusing on their players. Yeah. Oh, don't.
How long does that take?
Oh, mate, don't ever do it. It's horrible. But
I've never done it. How long does that take?
It must be about 15, 20 minutes
Jeez.
per match. Yeah, it's not fun. By any means, it's not fun. And then when there is a goal, you're like, oh, thank Christ for that, because you see so many opportunities going. You genuinely question why you watch actual football when you watch it. When you watch football live and not just on Match of the Day where you only see the highlights, you question yourself, I can't believe I watch normal football matches and not get bored of it. I suppose. But yeah, when 2D is genius for creating a new tactic or seeing whether your tactic's going wrong. So that's a little tip for you.
Who do you think is the most underrated content creator you're watching at the moment?
Oh, that's a very good question. That is a very good question. I would say Clates FM. I know he's quite good on Twitch already, but he recently come over to FM, and I really like his Hertha Berlin save. I think he portrays himself really well. He's not like me. He can actually pronounce names, and he's very well spoken. But he provides quite entertaining content. I think he's very good, and I think Dr. Benji actually shouted him out on Twitch and raided his stream the other day, and said how he's a very good streamer and he has all the things to be a very good streamer in the future. I think he's really good on YouTube too. So Clates FM is definitely one for me. And a fun fact actually is he messaged me not so long ago saying, oh, thanks for retweeting my stuff. And I was like, oh, no problem. And he was like, oh, I see you from Plymouth. So I was like, yeah. He goes, I used to live in Plymouth. It turns out me and Clates have actually played football against each other in real life, which I thought that is amazing. That is outstanding, isn't it?
So you're the reason why he's never walked the same again, because you broke his leg.
Yeah, well, I nutmegged him down the line. He retired straight away. That was the story.
Snapped his ankles when he did it.
Yeah. He played for Plymouth University and played in the same league when I was playing a good standard, and we played against each other. How weird!
Wow. Regen or new gen?
Regen for me, but it's annoying because of FM Scout. I have to say new gen at certain times because else the comments would just be bombarded with it. But it is,
really?
Yeah, it is regen for me. To be fair, I'll say both. I'll go regen/new gen, or regen or new gen for you guys who like new gen. But it is regen.
I'm not gonna lie, Luke. I thought more of you. You're pandering to your audience.
Yeah, you know earlier when I said I don't read the comments, I do. They hurt. I
was gonna say that's why I'm disappointed. You've just given yourself away. Yeah. You really have. You're like, no, I don't read the comments, And now you're like, oh, well, actually, sometimes they say.
I'm so heavily influenced by the comments. It's unbelievable.
And last, but by no means least, club versus country. Man United winning the Champions League. So I believe you're a Man United fan. Man United winning the Champions League again, or the Premier League, because it ain't going to happen either for a long, long while. Or England win the World Cup.
England all the way for me. I think the 2018, that summer was amazing. Everyone was so happy. I'd love it. And the fact that, because I'm a Man United fan...
Kevin Keegan, chill out. Yeah, I would love it.
I would love it if we beat them. Love it. No, I think the fact that if Man United won something, I could only celebrate with a very small handful of friends who also support Man United, because majority of my friends are all Liverpool fans. My dad's a Spurs fan. I don't really have a lot of Man United fans who are friends. Whereas if England won the World Cup or the Euros, like, we could celebrate with everyone, and I think that's more important to me. Like, I would love watching World Cup games with my dad, because he's the funniest person ever. Seeing when a goal goes in for us, he'll get up and he's screaming at the telly and makes my mum jump and stuff. Whereas if Man United won the Champions League, he'd just be sat there just watching, chilling it out. So I think definitely for England.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Wales fan, as I've said 50 million times before. And for me, it's always going to be, I'm always country over club.
Yeah.
I'm a Luton Town fan and a Wales fan, but for me, I would always choose Wales to win the World Cup or the Euros or like even the what's it called? The UEFA Nations League?
Oh, that amazing established competition that everyone wants to win. Yeah. It's almost as big as the Euro Cup 2.
I would choose that right now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd even be happy to win that.
It's almost as big as the Euro Cup 2 when that eventually comes out.
I didn't even know about that until I was watching Loki's stream. I was like, what is this Europa League Cup 2 thing? What is that all about? I've never heard of it
weird.
before.
So weird. I don't think it was on last year's FN, I'm not sure, but in this year's FM, it was like, you've just qualified for the Euro Cup, what? I was like,
is that a real thing though? Is that a real thing happening?
I think so, yeah.
What
baffling,
is
isn't
that
it?
All about?
Baffling.
Why, I don't understand. But what do we know? We're only guys who play football for 5 hours a day on the computer. What do we know about football?
Yeah, well, probably more than what they do, to be fair.
Exactly. So my last question for you, mate. Omega Luke, what's that all about?
So obviously we've already established that I'm into wrestling. What got me back into wrestling was a Japanese wrestling match between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. And that was only because it got rated 6 out of 5 stars. For the first time ever, it was a match that was rated higher than what thought could be possible. I watched the match, fell in love with Kenny Omega as a wrestler, and when I created my wrestling content, I already had the Omega symbol tattooed on my neck. I sort of couldn't think of any decent names, and then I just thought, why not just call myself something Omega? And I thought Luke Omega sounds a bit I don't know what it is. And then my missus just went, Luke Omega Luke, and I was like, Omega Luke, that sounds a lot better, rolls off the tongue a lot more, and I've just stuck with it ever since. So it'll be,
there we go.
Yeah, it'll be my YouTube name, my wrestling name. It's going to be everything. So
I like it.
Branding.
Well, there we go, boys and girls. Another episode of Ben Meets done. I mean, I was a bit of a fanboy, talk about wrestling. I mean, I'd rather just do a wrestling podcast right now, I'm not going to lie to you. But I really enjoyed that. I love talking to Luke. It was great having you on. Luke's links are going to be in the description down below. I know he said he prefers his Youth to Gold save. I personally prefer his Conquering Scandinavia save. You can decide which one you prefer. Let us know down in the comments below which one you prefer. Youth to Gold, Conquering Scandinavia, maybe even the 3-year challenge. Which one do you prefer? Let us know down below. But anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Do you want to say goodbye, Luke?
Goodbye, Luke. Thank you very much for having me, Ben.